Well, welcome everyone. Welcome. Thank you. Thank you for clicking. Thank you for coming in. Today, guys, we're going to read chapter 4. Chapter 4. Yes, chapter 4 of our principles, power principles. You guys got your own book by now, I hope. You can get it on Amazon. Please get it and put it into your library. It is worth your having. Thank you so much for coming in, everyone. Let's get started. Wisdom plans ahead is what we're talking about today. And it says, you don't get what you want in life. You get what you prepare for. You don't get what you want in life. You get what you prepare for. Let's go. Let's go. The cause of most failures in life is a lack of preparation. We think we're ready to begin a project or an endeavor. Wow. Or we think we can keep a current venture going, only to have everything fall apart for the simple, avoidable reason that we haven't adequately prepared for it. We haven't thought through all the implications or the problems that might arise, how to address them. If you don't have a plan, the best we can hope for is the hit or miss. You're aiming for nothing out there. Two popular adages highlight this truth. If you don't know where you're going in life, any road will take you there. Whoa. And when you fail to plan, you plan to fail. I know you've heard that one. That's a common one. Wisdom tells us that the time to be ready is not the time to get ready. Can I say that again? Wisdom tells us that the time to be ready is not the time to get ready. At that point, you might be too late. The groundwork has to be done ahead of time. This is good stuff. Preparation is the greatest evidence that we believe something better is coming into our life. And the bigger that something is going to be, the more time we need to prepare for it. When we understand the benefits of planning and how to get about it, how to go about it, we can accomplish much while avoiding unnecessary disappointment and undue stress. Girl, we don't need no undue stress. I'm telling you that right now. So let's begin by looking at some specific ways we derive, Let's begin by looking at some specific benefits we do arrive from planning. Let's go. We live according to our purpose, not others' ideas or intentions. The first benefit of planning is that it enables us to follow through with what we have identified as our life's purpose. If we don't have a plan for where we're going, remember, we might just live somebody else's plan for our lives rather than our true calling. And you know that happens. You end up doing something that your mom would have done, or your father, your brother, your sister, but it wasn't you. Because we are following the path of least resistance. There's no struggle. Frederick Douglass said, and this is Black History Month, happy welcome, how you celebrate it. Frederick Douglass said, without a struggle, there's no progress. So we know there's going to be an uphill climb, but if we keep on going, let's move on. The person who has no strategy will always be at the mercy of the one who has strategy and is ready to draw others into it, whether it is aligned with their purpose or not. You're ready to bring somebody on board. You're ready to say, come on in here. Come on, guys. We give a good foundation for all our endeavors. Okay? Second, for the implementation of any idea or initiative, planning gives us a solid foundation to build on. For example, no one who wants to start a business will be successful in the long run without a well thought out business plan. You ever seen somebody start a business and then all of a sudden you say, wow, they did start a business, but I don't know what happened. It seemed like they went out of business right away. It was right over there. I don't know what happened. They probably didn't have a good foundation. Didn't have a business plan, a good solid business plan. Suppose you wanted to apply for a bank loan to open up a cafe. You would need to develop a detailed proposal so the bank could determine if you have thought things through in all relevant elements and details of the venture, even down to the specific types of sandwiches that would be served. Have you thought about that? In a list of ingredients, have you thought about that? To decide whether you have a good chance for success. No, I'm just going to open up a cafe. I'm going to go in there and I found this building, clean it up, open it up, put me some cloths on the table and get started. No. What specifics have you identified as being necessary for your own dreams to become reality? First, do you have a clear strategy for fulfilling your life's purpose? Within that framework, if you want to get married, what's your plan? Oh, let's not even go there. Guys, I was married for many years. My loving husband is in heaven. But I'm telling you, you know what we did? Can I just tell you what we did? Yes, we met. And we actually dated for a full year. Once we made the decision that we were going to get married, we had to determine what was going to happen. So you know what? My mom was not able to pay for my wedding. I didn't ask her to because I knew she couldn't. So we started thinking, things got to be paid for. Things got to be, what do I want? What kind of dress do I want? Where are we going to live? How are we going to do this? What about our rings? All kinds of things start popping up. So my husband took a job let me get this right. Yeah, about 2.5 hours away from where I was living to get a job, to make money that we could pay for things as we went along. Now, we ended up having a double wedding. My best girlfriend and I, we married together. She married her local sweetheart, and I married my husband, who was from another location. That's neither here nor there. But the plans had to go into place. So now we're going to have a double wedding. We're going to have 14. I'm going to have 7 bridesmaids, plus my maid of honor. And they got to have escorts. And my girlfriend is going to have 7. And that was huge. We're going to have a garden wedding outside. We rented the Holiday Inn, their platform outside. We had to have double pastors because our faiths were basically the same, but not night. We were both Christians. They were, Pentecostal and Baptist at that time. I was Methodist. He was Catholic, so some changes had to be made there. What does all that got to do with this? We had to plan it out. And I must say to you, our marriage lasts until death did us part. Their marriage is still going on. So it can happen. But you got to make some plans, guys. Okay, so it says here, have you thought through all the details of what you desire to accomplish? Okay, so if when we fail to plan, you plan to fail. We anticipate and develop responses to potential problems. Things are going to come up. Things are going to rise. We're going to have disagreements in that relationship. But we came up with a thought. I'm not going anywhere. And he said, he's not going anywhere. So we said, you know what? We're going to have to find a way to work it out. When you come and run up into a situation, we got to work it out. And it wasn't through hurting each other. It wasn't through doing all of that. We made plans. We planned that part out. We will not be cursing each other. We will not be hitting each other. We will not be re-raising each other. Yeah, we planned all those things, talked all those things out. Yes, we did. Yes. Okay, what kind of language would be used in our home? Yes, we did. Okay, I like the quote, plan ahead, acrostic that John Maxwell uses, which includes the anticipation of future needs. I think you guys might know this one. So you do the word plan, and you do the acronym. Y'all with me? So you know how to spell plan, P-L-A-N, so the P. So the P is predetermine a course of action. The L, lay out your goals. The A, adjust your priorities. The N, notify key personnel. Now so it's plan ahead. So that was the acronym for plan. Now ahead. So with the A, allow time for acceptance. The H, head into action. The E, expect problems. The A, always point to the successes. Always point to what's working. And then D, daily review your plans. Look over it. Now it's time to debrief. What worked? What didn't work? Huh? What can we change? We do that in medicine. At the end of the shift, our shift, we have to review. We have to look at some things. Wow, what happened today? What went south? Everything was going so great. Then what happened? What do we do over here? What do we do over there? Wow, I don't want to do that again. All right. Although all these points are valuable, I want to focus here on expect problems. Expect problems. Now you say, well, isn't that negative? Not unless you see it as negative, because you got to realize in life, well, let me say it this way. Expect challenges. Let's try that one. Because in life, you're going to have challenges. It's not going to be all smooth sailing. You're going to be disappointed if you think it's all smooth sailings, right? We're going to have challenges. So it says, although all of these points are valuable, I want to focus here on expect problems. This is where many people miss it while pursuing their dreams and goals. They go into an endeavor wide open and optimistic, which is good. I'm a positive person. I love it. Overlooking the fact that we live in a problematic world where issues arise that must be addressed. I am a positive, optimistic, how's your day? When I clock into my dialysis unit in the morning, how's your day? My day is great. When I wake up in the morning, my day is great. I'm glad to be alive or well. I find that my things are working. Glad to see you, doctor. Things are working. I check my blood pressure, see where I am and what's going on. Take my meds, what I have to do. I'm out to work. It's a great day. But I also realize that problems or challenges are not my enemy. Because when I run into a situation, I need to know how to fix it. That's the deal. That's the deal. Okay? So when I run into a situation with my machine, some of you guys know what a dialysis machine is. Okay? We put patients on dialysis, and then we do their treatment. Clean their blood, remove fluid, things of that sort. Okay? So now I wanted to just really go great. Connect my patient up. I'm ready to go. All is well. But all of a sudden I get a beep, 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 beep. I get an alarm system. So I got to go, whoa, my goodness, what am I going to do? I'm going to throw up my hands and run off and leave the patient. No, I can't do that. I go over and see what the problem is. And then I fix it. And if I can't fix it, I got a team around me. Always remember team. Remember, that was one of our points, guys. And we're going to talk about it later. I got a team around me to help me. And I'm not afraid to ask them for help. Why? Because the patient is the main concern. I'm keeping my what? Eyes on my prize. I'm focusing on my goal. The goal is to give him a good treatment. And yes, have him come in, get a good treatment, and go. Success. But in the meantime, while I'm going through that 3 hour, or 3.5 hour, or 4 hour treatment, I gotta be expecting or be aware that challenges may arise. and I need to know how to fix them. Okay, let's move on. So, planning gives us the foresight to identify potential needs and problems before we experience them, so that we can prepare for as many eventualities as possible and know in advance that the course of action we will take if difficulties arise. We got to know what to do. So if something happened, I got to be on it. I got to be on it. And remember, you don't have to know everything. Remember, you can always ask. There's always somebody there. But it's good to know your machine. It's good to know your job. It's good to know your responsibilities. It's good to know how to handle this. It's good to have the spare tire. And it's also good to know how to change it. Now, I'm going to leave that alone. I know how to change it, but I don't do too good with that. So that I call help. Okay? That's my AAA guy. Shout out to AAA. Okay, let's go here. Optimism is a wonderful quality, and we will talk about its importance later on in the book. We just did some of that. But optimism and practicality have to go together. We just said that. Although I consider myself to be Mr. Positive, Miss Positivity, I don't believe it is negative thinking to anticipate that things are not always going to proceed according to the way we want them or have planned for them to go. Certain things will come up in life that are totally unexpected. It is going to happen totally unexpected, and it can catch us off guard. Sometimes no matter what you do, you're going to get caught off guard. But if we be wise, and that's what this is about. What is our book? Power Principles, The Benefits, of a Wisdom-Driven Life by Dr. Dale C. Bronner. Okay? So we're dealing with wisdom. Wisdom tells us what? We learned back in chapter 1. What to do. When to do it. And how to do it. And you can add in some more, but we need to know those things. Let's move on. I have noticed that some people are under the impression that their faith or optimism will enable them to avoid problems rather than empower them to go through them. Let me just keep reading. Yet, Jesus himself said, okay, don't be offended by that name. Y'all, I'm a Christian. You know you're on a Christian-based site. Okay. Yet, Jesus himself said, in this world, you will have trouble. Yes, he did. He said, but take heart. He says, I have overcome the world. It is not a sign of faithlessness to anticipate problems. I need to say that again. It is not a sign of not having faith to anticipate problems, because we are guaranteed to have various troubles in life. There's another scripture where he said, many afflictions are the righteous. Many afflictions. We're going to go through many. But he said he will deliver us out of them all. So things are going to happen. We're in the world. We're in this world. He says here, we just need to decide how we will respond to them. That's it. It's how you respond. Oh my goodness. He's got an example, but I want to give you one of mine real quick. We talked about this already, folks that have been on my channel. My late husband died of kidney failure. He was on kidney failure for 20 years. He went through the process. It was a process, okay? From being up, then going through dialysis, doing the different ones. Ended up getting what they call PAD, peripheral artery disease. That's when no blood is getting to your extremities and your legs and you're out there. Gangrene, bilateral amputations. He went through it. But there was something about him as he was going through that, all the while I was caring for him. His attitude. This man is in the hospital, lying there, going through issues, and folk would come in, or the doctors would come in and say, Mr. Bixby, how you doing today? He said, great. I'm doing great. Anybody say, under the circumstances, but I'm doing great. And so I had one minister one day, I won't call the name, close friend, come in. And he said, I asked him how he was doing, and he said, great. I said, yeah, that's him. That's his attitude. He has learned to make the best of the situation that he's in. It happens. Now, I've also had people that were very bitter. Very, very bitter. And that's okay. You have to deal with what you're dealing with the way you deal with it. Excuse me. But they were bitter, and they were mad with God. They were mad with everybody that was around them, and seemed to be the whole world because of what they were dealing with. What that does a lot of times is make things go a lot harder. You got to do what you got to do. But I prefer, as a caregiver, when I'm caring for the one that can say to me, honey, I know my cancer smells. I know it smells, and you don't have to stay. I understand. And I'll say to them, yes, I do. I'm good with it. I'm okay here. What do you need? Okay? Problems are going to come. We have to learn to deal. How we respond. We get mad at the world. Pull down the drapes. Close the door. Or we decide to end our lives, because I know people have done that. Or just, how do we handle it? If we get nothing else out of this today, that's the deal. I want you to focus on that. They're going to come. Challenges are going to come. But how will you deal? Let's move on. Let's use his example, the author. Here's a simple illustration of how optimism alone can cause people to fail. Suppose someone wanted to open a particular kind of store. Having a little experience in business, they imagine that if they get 100 customers each day, every customer spends at least $10. They'll receive $1,000 of gross income daily. Even if they do get 100 people in their store every day, not everyone will purchase something. Many will come in just to browse. The business owner will have to revise their estimate of daily income after doing detailed market research. And even then, there's no guarantee the projected sales will be met. Sales might be higher or lower than anticipated. Thus, for such endeavors, part of the planning process would be to factor in that some people won't be interested in what you have to offer, and that you must expect to deal with a certain amount of rejection. Moreover, the business owner would have to realize that the lack of response to a particular product doesn't necessarily mean the product is bad, but only that it needs to be targeted to the best audience and presented to enough people. There are about 7 billion people on the planet. That's huge right there. This means that if you produce something and it gets rejected even by 1 million, there may still be a big market for it. Wow. Suppose the very thing that you're gifted in producing will be huge in Asia or Europe, and you haven't even gotten your product advertised there yet. You may simply be fishing in the wrong waters. Oh, this is so good. This is so good. I tell you the truth. This book has been a life changer for me. Many things I know, but just to hear it again and to revise it again, I'm telling you, it's outstanding. Having a well thought out plan helps you to avoid wasting time and money on efforts that are bound to be unprofitable. Guys, I've done it. I've wasted so much time and money on things. Oh my God. But I learned from it. And I got wisdom from it. Yes. If this does happen, we need to immediately revise our game plan. Analyzing what's wrong with what I'm doing. What am I overlooking? What new markets can I explore? We have to continuously revise. We got to look at it and see. I had to do it remember I shared with you? that I went to the recreation centers and I started my own business years ago with as a entrepreneur, city parks and recreation in my area. I had to keep revising and keep updating. I was teaching music after school to the after school kids. Yes, I was teaching them piano and guitar. But then, remember, I had a job. I went to Chicago, remember? I was a safety supervisor for a company. So I went for a safety seminar. And while I was there in Chicago, remember I walked down the Magnificent Mile. And I went into this bookstore. And I started buying. I'm gonna do that next, guys. We'll be on probably tomorrow. I'm gonna do that because of Black History Month. I started buying these Black History books because what made me do it? On the tour around Chicago, I saw this statue of this man, Jean-Baptiste du Sable, that said he was the father of Chicago. And oh my God, I said, I didn't know that. So I went and bought these books. Y'all already know the story. I started reading, and I looked in there. And I found one of the first was him, and he was in Chicago, and I got excited, and I bought as many as I could. I raced home and started studying. And then I went back to my job, remember? And I said to them, how can I would like to incorporate this into my plan. And they said, oh no, we hired you to do music, not Black history. Then I had to come home, and I had to revise, and I had to think, and I talked with my late husband. I said, I gotta add this. What can I do? He said, put it to music. Put it to music. So that's what I did. I took a group of names of scientists and inventors and Black history people that we normally don't talk about. Yeah. And I put it to music. And I created a rap beat. And the kids loved it. And they learned. And I said, oh my goodness. So then on my contract, they added that in. It was musical Black history workshop because I went and revised my plan. I'm telling you, this is so good. All right. So now, thus, when we plan anything, from something as small as a local family gathering to something as huge as a merge of major corporations, we should always anticipate that we may be confronted by unexpected or negative developments. Ask yourself, what if this idea, plan, operation, project, relationship doesn't work? What if it doesn't work? What's the worst thing that can happen? Should I put all my eggs in this one basket? Make a plan for what you will do if something falls through. Guys, I haven't been very good at that. I'm learning. Now I'm learning how to do that. In the beginning, when I was doing businesses, I didn't know this. This came later. It's still coming. We're still learning. What if the cost of my goods go up? What if one of my vice presidents quit? What if my product is no longer popular or needed? I had people working for me. A couple of businesses, we had employees. But then we had to ask some questions. Do we have enough insurance to cover them? What if one of them get hurt and what are we doing? What if somebody slips on the ice up here in New York where I am while they're going with me to do my class? What? How am I going to handle this? Okay, I'm teaching out of my home. Remember, I did that as well. It was part of the same entrepreneurship. I have customers coming in and customers going out here in New York. And we're in the winter right now, one of our coldest days. We have snow and ice. So now I have my ramp. I have my steps. I got to make sure that they're salted and protected and there's railings there. I got to make sure that when my customers come in that they can get out safely. What if they come up the ramp, one slip and fall, break a hip? I got to be prepared for that. I got to know, oh my God, I got to make sure I got my insurance that covers that. I got to make sure that this doesn't happen. But if it does happen, what will I do? Okay. So it says here, again, asking such questions doesn't mean you're being pessimistic. I was not planning for anybody to fall. Trust me. My customers can tell you that was not the plan. I don't care how much salt I had to use. I don't care how much shoveling I had to do. Get them in and get them out safely was the plan. Trust me, I wasn't planning for anybody to fall at my shop, at my place of business. It says here, okay, just being pessimistic or distrustful or just practical. Just being practical. Remember that if human beings are involved in anything, there will be problems. We're human. We blow it. And that's us. None of us are perfect. Only Jesus was. Thank God none of us are perfect. Because then we will look down on other people. So we don't want that. We're striving for perfection. We're not there yet. Okay. So it says here. Some things are not a matter of if, but when. Some things are not a matter of if, but when. All right, I'm going to pause here for a minute and see can I read something. Hello, good evening, my good brothers and sisters. I'm the great spiritual father. Okay, then welcome. All right, let's continue. If you consider these types of issues up front, glad to have you. Thank you for coming. Glad to have everyone that's on. Thank you for coming. And I'm reading, so I won't be able to read every comment because we want to get through this. But if something pops up every now and then, I'll try to address it. So please understand that. I'm never ignoring anyone. Appreciate you greatly. And remember, as my bishop says, no one has to do anything for anybody. So you do not have to come up here to my channel. Thank you so much for coming. If you consider these type of issues up front, it would help you to strategize wisely. Your plan needs to address as many scenarios as possible, as well as what types of resources are available in case the unexpected happens. If your perspective has been based on purely optimism only, you have to wake up and smell the coffee because you lack a sound plan for success. Let me say something here. I am a faith believer, walk by faith. But in my Bible, it tells me faith without works is dead. So you need to put some action to your faith. Be wise, as we're learning here, wisdom, to be wise. It says here, additionally, planning ahead encourages us to store up during seasons of plenty so that we can continue to have a source of supply during times of lack. Oh, I could stop there, but I want to keep going for a minute. Many individuals, businesses, and organizations spend everything they have in the present without considering possible shortages in the future. Oh, you know I'm coming back. Excuse me. Instead of encouraging us to save for scarce times, today's society so relentlessly advocates spending that is very easy to get caught up in overspending. Let me just pause here for a quick minute. This is so huge, and this is a lack of knowledge that I did not grasp as a younger person. I'm just going to be honest with you, I did it. Why is that? First of all, I was not taught wisdom. My mom did the best that she could, and my family did the best that they could back in the day. And they did teach some of us it. But some of us as young people, you remember we went through one passage, I think it was our last lesson chapter, where the young people think they know more than the adults, and so you don't listen. So we weren't listening. And so what happened was, my grandmother-in-law had lived through one of the wars, the Depression. I don't know, Hoover days, one of the wars, the Depression, where things were hard. Back in the late 30s, 29s and 30s, somewhere in there. You guys can look that up. Things got really bad. They ended up having to use, they called them Babbitts, food stamps and some other kind of little pendant thing, coin type thing that they had to present for shoes or food. Things were rationed. They could only get so many. And at that time, I wasn't born, but I think my mom, coming along at that time, she had a total of 8 kids. So there was about maybe 4 or 5 kids that were born somewhere along up in there, coming into late 30s, 40s, going along in there. They had to figure out how to get shoes and everything for everybody and how to make things last. So I was visiting my in-laws, my husband's grandmother, and I saw that she had like a pantry, and she had extra tissue and extra soap and extra things. And I'm like, well, why do they have all of this stuff? And it wasn't like a hoarder. It was a pantry, neatly stocked and stored. And she would buy food, instead of going to the store to get 2 pieces of meat, 3 pieces of meat, or whatever, she would buy meat in quantity. So she would have the family members take her to what they call a slaughterhouse or a meat house. And she would buy a side of cow at a time. They would cut it and dress it and wrap it, and she would have it put in her freezer. She would buy am I saying this right? A crate of chickens, of fryers at a time. And they would be dressed and wrapped in freezer paper and put into the freezer and dated. And things that go on with things of that sort. And I'm like, okay, now these people, they have a refrigerator. She has a freezer with stuff. They have what is going on? What she was saying was, and she would say to me, you see, we've lived through hard times. You never know when you're going to not be without. You never know when things are going to happen that you, in Florida, hurricanes, tornadoes, but you just never know when things are going to come. You're going to need to prepare for a rainy day. You know, I thought, a rainy day, sure. These people talk about a rainy day. These people talking about putting up. That is wisdom. So how do we know? We go to the Bible. We go to the ant. King Solomon, the wisest man that ever lived. He said, consider the ant. He says the ant stores up all during the summer. You see those little ants walking around and they carrying things so small we can't see them, but they got them. They're tugging on little leaves, little pieces of this and that. And they all are running in a straight line. They're just all heading in one direction. They're going out getting things and storing it up into their little area where they live there. So when the winter comes like it is here now in Rochester, you're not going to see any ants running around. They can't be found. You're not going to see them. They're down in their hole, down in there living off of what they stored up during the summer. I'm telling you, wisdom. Let's go on. It says one definition of poverty is using everything you have in one generation. Oh, this hurts, people. This hurts. How many of us, come on, this is Black History Month. Let's be real. How many of us didn't get anything passed down from the previous generations? It's like you're restarting and restarting and restarting. How many of us didn't have wills, didn't have insurance policies, didn't have family members cover? How many of us? How many of us didn't just thought, I don't want to discuss? You know, this is for somebody. Thank you, Lord. How many of us say, I'm just not going to discuss death in any way? I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to talk about making any plans for that. I don't want to talk about having a living will. I don't even want to talk about having a will, period. But a living will is you're dealing with now what happens to me when I can't speak for myself. I don't plan to have that to happen. The doctor is on the line. I'm monitoring my blood pressure like a mad person. I'm monitoring my diet. I'm exercising. I'm doing all the things I know to do. I don't plan to have these things. But unfortunately, things do happen. This is life. So unfortunately, now something has come, and you can't vocalize your choices. Can't do this. And I like to use the illustration because I love chocolate. So someone is allergic to chocolate, and they can't tell anybody now. So they're in the facility, and we're caring for them. And we're trying to continuously give them chocolate pudding or something. And they can't talk, but they're and so family members come, and we write down on the chart, patient refuses to eat, and just go on, right? So let's say there is a family member that can come, or a relative or friend, and they say, no, they're trying to tell you that they are allergic to chocolate. They can't have it. They were trying to give you every sign they could. They can't have that. Oh, we didn't know. We didn't know. But if they had done their living will, and they had put these things down, the doctor office would have a copy, or primary doctor, or this person who's the representative, or someone would know. And they could say they can't have those things, or this does that, or I'm allergic to, I have a friend that's allergic to wool, or all kinds of things. Yeah. Okay? All right. So then, sometimes we procrastinate and do it at certain things, getting better at it. Things are uncomfortable to talk about. Nobody wants to do that. But we need to, because if we're wise, if we fail to plan, what is it? Then we plan to fail. Things are going to happen. Okay. So it says here, this is how many families get stuck in a low economic class. Or, look, I missed the point. Let me go back and come back up to this. So we talked about the next generation comes, and there's no inheritance for them to build on. Now let's pick it up from there. This is how many families get stuck in a low economic class or negative emotional outlook. We should make plans to reserve finances and preserve other resources that will be necessary for us and our families to maintain, grow, thrive throughout the course of their lives. We gotta do it. We gotta do it, families. We gotta change our way of thinking. We gotta use wisdom. We gotta use wisdom. God says wisdom is the principal thing. In all you're getting, get wisdom, get knowledge, get understanding. We gotta do it. It's time out for this. It's time out for this. We know the wealth gap. We already know about the wealth gap, and we know systemic racism. We know all this stuff. But there's a lot of things that we can do for ourselves that we've just been negligent. We understand our history from slavery. We understand that. But we got to make a change. And we'll say that the curse stops here. Right now, with my family, with my continuation, it's the change is now. I'm making a change now. No matter how small. I'm not going to be afraid of investing. I know I've heard about investing, people will say. But I'm learning now to invest more. I know I got my 401k and I got that going on. But I'm also looking at other avenues. Yes. This is one of the things that my church is bringing forth. We're very, very big on that. We're very big on teaching about health. We're very big on teaching about wealth. Oh my God, you can't be teaching about wealth in church. That's a lie. The Bible says, behold, I give you ability, power to get wealth. God has never promised us, never told us he wanted us to be poor, broke, and disgusted. That's a lie. That's a false teaching. That's another time. That's a lie. God is the one that created it. Jesus said, I came that you might have life and have it more abundantly. He became poor that we could become rich. But what was the richness is? It's to build up for the kingdom of God. It's not for you to hoard it on yourself. He gave you a mind. He gave us, how do you think developments, and how do you think inventions, how do you think all these things come to be? He gives us ideas. Many people on the line here probably have gotten ideas. You see that this is a pen. This is a pen. There's a black guy by the name of William Purvis. He invented the pen. How many people knew that? Now, wisdom on his part. Back in the day, I'm sure if we'll be going over one of those when I do my scientists and inventors. But now what happened is he can invent it, but was he able to get a patent? And if he got a patent, was he able later having to sell it? You understand? So now whoever was in his downline, his family, I don't know if they're able to benefit off of that. Garrett Morgan invented the traffic light. But I don't know now if he sold the patent or if he was able to, it's documented. But if he was able to continue on with it, is there members in his downline that are still receiving? Do you know how many traffic lights are used all around the world? Do you know how many different pens and variations of pens that are used all around the world? Can you imagine? That's your grandfather and you're in his downline? Or your great-great-grandfather and you're in his downline? Wow. Wow. Could you just imagine that? Okay. So it says here, we want to do better, family. We want to do better. I have a niece. I don't have any biological kids, so I have a niece. She's my representative. My plans are beyond what she's doing for herself, for her to be a very happy young lady. And my demise, it's my plan for her on what I'm accumulating and what God allowing me to do. Because she's a beautiful person. She makes sure that she watches after me. We have a great relationship. So hopefully I'll be a beautiful, blessed aunt for her. Okay. Planning also helps us to keep going during those times when temporarily our motivation grows weak and our enthusiasm fades. One NFL team owner promised all his players a brand new Cadillac. I think I heard about that. If they won the Super Bowl, the players were filled with enthusiasm over the prospect, but they went out and lost the game anyway. Wow. Is enthusiasm important? Absolutely. But enthusiasm alone will not win the victory. To have the best chance in winning, a sports team needs to diligently prepare its game plan ahead of time by formulating an effective strategy based on a close study of itself and its opponents, and making sure that the strategy is clear to all the team members by conducting training exercises that develop team members' strength and endurance, and by honing the specific skills of individual athletes. The team has to practice various plays continually and under difficult conditions until those plays become second nature and can be performed under intense pressure, because they never know what they're going to face from the other team. You know, as a musician minister, I'm in a community gospel choir. We've been going on for 28 years. various churches, we make up this particular choir, not my church choir. We have to rehearse and rehearse and rehearse. And we can rehearse for 2 hours at a time, and yet the performance can be less than an hour. We can go out and sing 5 or 6 songs and we're done, depending on what we're doing, depending upon the performance. But we have to rehearse like 150% in order to perform maybe at 95 to 100%. Because things come. We're going into a new setting. Sometimes the sound, trust me, I know about the sound system. Sometimes the sound system just go haywire. You've done sound checks, you've done all you know to do, and then something still at the last minute doesn't work. Someone can get sick, the main soloist, God forbid. Something can happen, she can't show. What are you going to do? Things happen. So we have to make sure that we are, to the best of our ability, anticipating as much as we can on what possibly could and what could not, and if it does, how are we going to handle it? See, my mentality is this: it's not about you got a problem. It's not about that you have a problem. It's what can you solve the problem. It's not about a problem or a challenge arises, but can we solve it? The money makers are the problem solvers. That's why we like the doctors and all the various people that the problem solver, that's the money maker. When your car breaks, the mechanic is a problem solver. He makes the money. When your pipe freezes or breaks, the plumber is a problem solver. He makes the money. Something goes wrong with our health, the doctor is a problem solver and he makes the money. It's a problem solver. It's not so much that there's a problem. It's a problem solver that makes the big bucks. Why didn't I have all this wisdom when I was growing up? What's the matter with me? It's okay. You start where you are and you move forward. Never with regrets of if only. Never looking back. Only looking back to learn from it and then go forward. Okay, we're getting there. Hopefully we're about to close out this chapter. If not, we'll pick it up later. Let's see how far we can go. I don't want to keep you too long. I don't want to tire you out. It's a lot of information. 2 things can dramatically reduce your fear of doing anything: preparation and practice. Say that with me. Can somebody type that in? Preparation and practice. Preparation and practice. 2 things can dramatically reduce your fear of doing anything. What is it? Preparation and practice. Wow. We develop skills by learning to do them correctly and then repeating them over and over. Oh my word. Guys, when I teach piano, keyboard, guitar, or anything, when I'm training a person at work, this is my motto. This is my motto. Repetition is the mother of all skill. Repetition is the mother of all skill. There's also a scripture that says faith comes by hearing. But now the Lord gave me wisdom. I got a little clause here. So watch. Repetition is the mother of all skill. But if you're learning it wrong, if you start out learning it wrong, and you keep repeating it and repeating it and repeating it, you become good, you become great at doing it wrong. So what has to happen? We have to go back to the foundation. We have to start out with the turtle and the hare effect. The turtle is slowly he moves, but surely. We start out with our classes as going slowly, working the fingers slowly, learning how to walk the scale slowly. We're learning 1, 2, 3, thumb under, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 if we're doing one octave. If we're doing 2 octaves, slowly, 1, 2, 3, thumb under, 1, 2, 3, 4, thumb under, 1, 2, 3, thumb under, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But if we just go there and just start 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 5, 1, 2, 3, okay, and do something else and cry, oh, I made it. You did? And yes. But there was a reason they taught us 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It produces speed and it produces accuracy. And you learn that formula where you can just about do it with your eyes closed. And you're going, how can they do that? I saw this guy get on the piano and he went, because he practiced that formula over, that pattern over and over and over and over. But he started out very slowly getting it, learning it correctly first. So accuracy first, then speed will come. The more we practice then the accuracy part, we'll be doing it accurately now. The more we practice then, the easier it will be for us to do them right when it really counts. So now you're doing a recital and you're under pressure. And you gotta go for it. Did it. And back. Because I've done it over and over and over. Under pressure, without pressure. I've done it. So I'm old hat now. Let's go for it. Okay? All right. Skills become automatic as we form habits. Think it takes 6. Somebody can correct me if you know differently, type it in. But I was taught I think it takes at least 6 to 8 weeks to develop a habit. And that's from, again, accurate repetition. This principle applies to any important scenario that we need to anticipate and prepare for. For example, many school systems, places of business are required to have regular fire drills. Yes, we do it at my job and probably at yours. Their safety procedures include planning out and practicing what students and teachers or employees will do in case of a fire or other emergency. Through repeated stimulated circumstances, people responses become like a reflex. When you are in the middle of a crisis, you don't have time to start thinking about what is the best course of action should be. You have to be trained for it ahead of time. It has to be in your muscle memory that when this happened, this is what I'll do. The only way to get to that place is plan and practice. Preparation and practice. Listen, on my job, okay, when I'm working, God forbid, anybody can have an issue with breathing or a heart condition at any time. We're all aware of what happened with Hamlin, the football player. So now everybody's conscious about making sure they know CPR and how to do it, and that's a great thing. And what we do is we have to be certified, and we have to literally go through the process. You can't just watch it on film and say, okay, now I got CPR. I know what I'm going to do. No, you need to get on that mannequin, that computer mannequin, and you need to know exactly how in depth you need to press. You need to know exactly where do you place the palm of your hand. How do you interlock your fingers? How do you keep your elbows straight? How much pressure are you putting down? How many counts are you doing? Because it used to be we would run and give 2 breaths and do that and do that. We don't do that anymore. It's done differently now. But we need to know how and when and where. And you don't have time to think. You never know where the person is going to go down. You don't know when somebody's going to choke. You're sitting and you're eating. And all of a sudden, you need to know the Heimlich maneuver. I don't have time to think about it. You just kick in the gear. You reach, you grab them, and bam, you're going for it. It comes through what? I can't see if somebody typed that in. I asked them to. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. Preparation and practice. Planning and practice. Preparation and practice. That's where it comes. Okay. Similarly, by making specific plans to reach the goals we have set, regularly reviewing those goals, and continually training ourselves in what is required to implement them, we can keep focused on the ongoing skills and preparation we need for success. Practice doesn't always make perfect. Here I go again. Here's one of my things. I love it. I love it. I don't know who out there believes that. Practice makes perfect. I have a little bit of change I've learned to do in that. I see somebody, Damon, I made a change in that one. Okay? It says here, but it does make better. That's good. But perfect practice makes perfect. That's my saying. Remember what we said up here? If we're practicing mistakes, we're going to be better at making mistakes. So we practice it accurately. Accurately we practice. Yes. Okay? So it says here, give yourself a chance to learn and to grow. Then, as you are working towards your goals, if your enthusiasm temporarily weakens or falls short, or any other problems arise, you will have strong preparation. You will have strong preparation to fall back on, or a trained mindset that will enable you to persevere and keep moving forward so you can be successful in the end. Let me ask you a question. How many people, when you look at medical personnel, I'm going to use that. I'm going to use that one. And we might pick this up. We might pick this up next time. I think I might pause it here. Let me make a point here that says start here. Okay, that'll be our next class. Okay, so how many people, when you see medical personnel working, and it looks like we just go on and on and on. I'm a 12-hour, I do 12 hours, and it looks like you just keep going on and on and on. You run into a situation, or I'm clocking in, I don't know where you are, I'm in Eastern Standard Time. So I'm clocking in at 5 a.m., so I get up at 4, and I have to drive to work. So I leave out of my door at 4:30 on a good day. Hopefully I'm not racing. And I get there and I clock in, and there's things I have to do immediately after I get clocked in and put my stuff in my locker. I got to open the unit. Now, what if I'm having an off day, just an off day? If I'm discombobulated, if I'm not kind of organized, I can throw off a whole shift of workers. I can just throw off things because I'm the person that opens. I'm the person that set the unit in motion. So when I get there, my mind, I gotta, be like ready to, okay, do this, do that, do this, do that, do this, do that, do this. Okay? And then now it's at this, okay, it's 5:30. I got that done. Gotta have this ready. 6 o'clock, this needs to be done. This needs to be done. Bing, 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 bing. But there are some days I might not wake up as jubilant as I like. Most of the time I do, thank God. But listen, in case you don't, you're human, you just got kind of like an off day. Things are not there. But because I've done it in repetition for so many times, and I keep what's the word? Methodical. Being a methodical person. Like when you come in your house and you bring your keys, is there methodical? Is there a place that you put your keys all the time? This is where I put my keys. Bing. See? So you're methodical. So that way, if something arises and you're not digging, you ever seen people like, oh my God, because I've had it happen, I've learned. Put it where it belongs. Be methodical. I don't mean to be rigid, but I mean to be methodical. Because now you got an emergency. Now you can't find them. Now you're looking over here. You're digging over there. What did I do with it? Oh my God. Where did I put it? In my job, I got to be methodical. See? In the ministry at certain things, you want to be methodical. You want to be able to allow room for the Holy Spirit to move, but you want to be kind of organized a little bit methodical. There's a scripture that says everything is done decently and in order. Because if I'm discombobulated, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm ripping and running everywhere. I'm wasting time. I'm just all about. Huh? What's going on with that? So guys, now I'm going to take a moment. I'm going to hit this button. It says invite. I don't know if I'm bringing people in. Please, if you have a comment or something you want to share. Oops, I missed some names. Let me go back here. If you want to share something, please do. I get something there and it did something and I'm not sure what it did. Anybody have anything that they would like to say before we end this session? Did you get anything out of this session? Please leave a comment. I appreciate your comments. I really, really want to know if it's a book that you think is worth reading. I tell you, I was drawn to it. It really, really blessed me. And we're just on, and we're on chapter. We did what, chapter 4? We're just in chapter 4 today. But it is so much wisdom in this book. I don't even know what kind of person I'm going to be when I finish it because I'm getting better and better each time I read. Guys, thank you so much for joining me today. We have another show to do a little later on. So I'm going to go and get refreshed and get prepared for it. And I hope to see you there. This is the Encourager, Queen C, no longer bound. Guys, we'll see you right here next time.